Hello everybody. So before we get started, I'd like to remind you to please like, share, comment, and subscribe. That is how my channel grows and gets recommended to others. So it really helps when you do. And yes, you will hear that again if you watch until the end. The top women of the Raw Women's Division are sadly locked in a game of Now Who's Stupid. There are finally new #1 contenders for the Raw Tag Team Championships. And is Bobby on his way out as champion? I'm Casualeann. Come with me. Segment 1 starts with Kevin Patrick and R-Truth offering preliminary condolences for Shayna Baszler, who went through a carnival of horrors, or maybe a grandparent's basement of the haunted house of a tween on Monday night. That warrants its own video, which is above my current pay grade. Truth's determined to keep mentioning the 24/7 championship as long as it is not in his possession. He differentiates Akira Tozawa stalking from Shayna Baszler, who's actually haunting. They replay the final scene of Raw with Shayna and Lily in their horrific end. Kofi defeated Riddle. They talk about that. And Kevin Patrick wonders if Randy is going to be upset because Riddle tried to use the RKO in his loss to Kofi. They're watching the footage and you can hear Truth like reacting to the different spots in real time, like, loved it. They mentioned that the contract was signed for the WWE Championship Hell in a Cell match with the stipulation that it's Drew's final opportunity for the title against Lashley. Truth asks Kevin Patrick about who's his pick, and Kevin Patrick attests that he's an impartial journalist who delivers mail, so they keep that running joke going. Truth, in a similar note, says he has history with Lashley and he's not trying to take sides. The guests are announced. They are the Viking Raiders, Rhea Ripley, and Lashley. There's a commercial break. And segment 2 is with the Viking Raiders. Now, Eric and Ivar have become #1 contenders for AJ and Omos's Raw Tag Team Championships. They did that as the result of a Tag Team Battle Royal match. They note they're feeling great. Ivar recounts the history of their synergy as a tag team. They know what each other's thinking. They're moving together. They're complementing one another's strengths and weaknesses. And Kevin Patrick asks them, how does it feel to have won that #1 contendership? They're anticipating the match as something that they've earned. Truth calls them a machine. So Kevin elicits their thoughts on the current champions, AJ and Omos, and their subsequent disrespect. So he's referring to the post-match backstage segment with, the turkey leg, Omos eating the turkey leg. And they show respect. They call AJ Styles the best of our generation with a Colossus that is nearly unstoppable. But they note that the fact that AJ and Omos are attempting to get under the skin of the Viking Raiders proves that they're intimidated. They're pushing for them to disqualify themselves from this championship opportunity. So Truth figures, kind of by contrast, that the tag team champions are just looking to bring them into the 21st century, with electricity and deodorant. And the Viking Raiders point out that, hey, this mic is electric. And Truth's like, nah, that mic is Bluetooth, and they're on a budget. They conclude, ultimately, you can't mess with a man's food, and you don't mess with a Viking's turkey leg. This is great. This is fresh meat, no pun intended, for the super team of AJ and Omos. I like that the Viking Raiders were the desired team for the duo. I like that sort of play. And they are seeming to work together well, just in this burgeoning feud, just from the few scenes we've seen. It should be a good, entertaining match. I was kind of tired of the New Day as glorified jobbers, especially in the tag division. So at least this is something new. At least this is someone new to feed to Omj, or a dynamic way to build up a new generation tag team. probably that first one. But the Viking Raiders, they provided substance, they sounded like a team, they were very unified, and they were funny. So, good segment overall. We get a commercial break, and segment 3 is with our Raw Women's Champion, Rhea Ripley. She admits to experiencing some animosity because of what's been happening. And she finds it ironic that Charlotte views herself as a professional and Rhea as the rookie when Charlotte was the one who tried to upstage her. But Kevin Patrick points out like who won, you know, in this tag team match with the two of them against Asuka and Nikki Cross. He notes that they were victorious, so what's to be gained from this? And Rhea responds never to trust anyone, and that she never thought that even Charlotte would sink this low. She shows regard for Asuka and Nikki Cross, but isn't too concerned about Charlotte because, in her words, she knows she lives rent-free in her head. Boy, I have heard that phrase a lot in the past couple of weeks. Kevin Patrick inquires if she expected more from the 13-time champion, and she replies she wasn't surprised, but that she should have been paying more attention to Charlotte and watching out more for herself. To that, KP asks, well, what do you feel about taking this to the cell? Rhea offers that that's her domain. I get it. The nightmare thing. KPZ puts Truth on the spot, asking for his pick in the match. And Truth just says whomever is hungriest for the title is the one that's going to win it. And Kevin Patrick points out to Rhea that, hey, she's listening to a man who wants his baby back. And Truth counters, comes right back with, and this is the man that cost me my baby. He's not letting it go, and rightfully so. All I can say is that I hope that there is a good storyline reason for Akira's absence, because if not, there was literally no reason for Truth, whom people see and enjoy weekly, to lose this 24/7 title. None whatsoever. Kevin Patrick wishes Rhea the best of luck, and she goes off. And I think ultimately Rhea is doing what she can with what she's been given, which isn't much. The Charlotte feud kind of reached a new height of tedium this week with the whole, coexist tag team angle. But she supplied nice context on her mindset, what she thought of Asuka, and super best Iron Woman Nikki Cross. Find more about that moniker up in the Memorial Day review. We get another commercial break. And the final segment is with our WWE champion, Bobby Lashley. The first thing that you notice coming back from the commercial is the set is exceptionally crowded with the ladies. I'll try to make that the last set of air quotes I use. We'll see how it goes. They start to talk and MVP asks, are you gonna regard the ladies? Truth, living up to his name, points out, there are 7 people they brought with them. Lots of love. I'm wondering how will this contrast with the segment from a few weeks ago. Truth is invited to an outing with everybody, and Truth says, Truth don't go to parties. His woman must not play. MVP calls Drew a savage and kind of gives the repetition insanity quote, talking about him going after the title again and again. And he says that Drew is imploring and whooping from Bobby Lashley again. And Lashley notes that, a sore through the table didn't do anything. But there's no difference. He'll beat him in Hell in a Cell just like he beat him at WrestleMania. And so Kevin asks, well, what's next after that? Lashley's like, hey, we're going to have fun. It's time to relax and enjoy the fruits of our labor. Truth advises Lashley to watch his money because it's going to end. And MVP takes the opportunity to condescend to Truth. He says that, he needs to watch his money because his money and the champion's money are not the same. But MVP asks, would Kevin Patrick's wife approve of him going out with them? And he blushes a Kool-Aid red. It's like instant. Like, it might as well be as red as this painting back here. But he says they have bottles on ice, so they have to go. Entertaining heel way to stroll on out. For a must-watch segment, I'm going to recommend segment 4 with Bobby Lashley as a companion piece to the one I recommended a few weeks ago, and I have a link to that above also. So the difference is night and day. They are setting Bobby up as the WWE champion for a pride cascading, humiliating fall from grace. It started after the triple threat match with the Ho Train. Then it continued into the contract signing, especially with this having to be Drew's final chance to win the championship, and Bobby not being bothered enough to be on time, which also has its own unprofessional connotations. And now it's extended into Raw talk with the conceit and the condescending and all of that. They have Lashley poised as the quintessential champion with an overinflated sense of self, someone who's lost focus. That's the very thing he accused Drew of the last time he was on Raw Talk. This is an early Rocky III WWE champion that we're kind of seeing. Someone who's underestimating his challenger. I'm digging the continuity, especially considering that the talk shows aren't really expected to be canon until something crazy happens, you know, like with Tamina and the Passion promo. So it's admirable that they're paying that much attention to the details. My rating for this week is 4 out of 5. There were solid performances all around, no major weaknesses, lots of cliches slipping into the language. It still wasn't quite superlative enough for a 5. I'm going to remind you all, once again, to please like, share, comment, and subscribe. That is how my channel grows and gets recommended to others. It really helps when you do that. Thank you all, as always, so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.